too much success with all their insightful views. Do you grow yourself or buy from the top shelf? Are you here to take the reins and gain back your health? Whatever it is, you know the biz. Leave a like, crack a pipe, and let's get on with it. If you want to acquire the knowledge, you don't have to go to college. You can just come hang with Aaron and Dave.
Welcome to the Elevated News Podcast for TwoDopeDudes. We're a podcast focused on discussing local and national cannabis news and culture. I'm Aaron.
Hey, I'm Dave.
Hey, what's up, Dave?
Not a whole lot. Just reading through these great articles.
Kind of some of these news articles, right? Yeah, it's going to be a
Wild.
fun one today. It's going to get wild. Um, I know a whole lot of what's new, and then nothing else is new, right? Like
Pretty much.
a lot of the same old, what you would expect, and some stuff that you wouldn't expect.
Yep. Yep.
How's
That's
so?
great.
Yeah,
How
I
fun.
know. I know. I know. Well, happy Wednesday, dude. I mean, it's Monday for us, but happy
Yeah, bingo.
Wednesday to everybody else. How are you this week?
Um, I'm good, man. I am. Yep.
Yep.
Been one of
Just
them.
you're just in it, right?
Here I am.
Here you are doing the thing.
Yep.
But hey, it's an interesting week for marijuana. We got some cool stuff to talk about. So like let's just get right into it. You know what I mean? You
All right.
wanna you wanna go back the last couple weeks? We got some comments to get to, and
Yeah.
then we
Let's
can get to these awesome news stories.
talk to me.
Uh Episode 75. All right, I guess we usually do plugs first. So I guess let's do plugs real
Oh
quick.
yeah.
Is
Touche.
that cool?
Yeah. I'm gonna smoke
Uh
this.
yeah. No, I got you. You can find us Elevated News Podcast with Two Dope Dudes on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and all your other favorite streaming and podcast apps. Uh, at Two Dope Dudes YouTube channel, please give us a like, leave us a review. This helps us reach more people. And as always, you can find us at supportdopepeople.com along with links to our other pods, t-shirts, hoodies, stickers. Hit us up. And on Thursday nights, you can check out my friend Dave here on
I'll
his
be
YouTube.
peace, love, and cope at YouTube.
Yeah,
Coming
at
out.
YouTube.
I'll be sitting in approximately the same seat
Hmm.
with approximately the same pipe in my hand.
Yep. And different backgrounds.
Yeah. They float around. Yep.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
but no, yeah, please let me help you take your health back in your own hands with a little cannabis knowledge.
Hmm. Yep. And then YouTube comments. This was episode 75, The Dudes Unpack. As, let's see. There was no live chat. I don't know what happened. Mr. Work 420, I hear you. Another great show, fellows. Uh, Elisa, missed the show. Great to see you guys again. She always hangs out. She tends to hang out on Thursdays with
Absolutely.
Angelo and Chi-Town Hi-Fi, right?
All of them have been pretty present lately.
Hmm.
We've got some badasses coming through.
It's 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 not necessarily the gamers right now. It's like people actually interested in cannabis,
cannabis
which is
folk.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Not that I don't like the gamers, but you know.
No. Bingo. Yeah. I'm not. Yeah. I'm into that, but I love people who are actively seeking um betterment for themselves, but also education, like from
Mhm.
of cannabis, and I love
Right.
talking cannabis, so run that.
Absolutely. Macho Grams, much love, Hermanos. Another great
Oh,
episode with two dope dudes. Macho, you're the best, and you know it. And John Voight was going, I wonder what was up about the live chat because he is generally in the live chat the whole time, hanging out, talking. Uh,
that's becoming one of my like favorite humans. I did
mhm.
not know as much about that man until recently, and what a just absolute hero, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. And we had him on the pod. Former
Yeah, well, and
one
I
of our early
understand it.
guests. Yeah.
I still didn't even know how much of a badass he was until,
Yeah.
like, yeah, get closer. But yeah, he's one of my favorite real people in the world right now.
Yeah, he's a shy guy.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Uh IG hashaholic. Can't wait to start my growing journey this year, which is fantastic. Shout out. And the Shadow 3001, old to the community but new to your show. I'll give you a thumbs up and support you. I look forward to more of your shows. We're here to stay. Really think about it. We never left. Agreed.
I love that. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, that was super cool. And then hey, we got good views on the one with our friend Alexander Malik on 76.
Oh, I bet.
John Voight said best episode yet. And Elevated Motions, that guy loves beer. I agree.
I uh I have to agree that might be the best episode yet.
Yeah, that was a really fun episode.
I've had some really good times with a couple, like all the guest ones are really cool, right?
Hmm.
Um
And
and
we're
and
working on some
nothing.
cool ones too.
Oh yeah, oh my god, yeah. But I just his perspective at this time, right?
Hmm.
Right now, when everything's kind of unfolding, really, like, yeah, to hear that was really cool. To see, yeah, I'm a big fan.
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely. I'm super glad he could finally come on. He was finally allowed to. And you know, uh I know you went back and listened to it a couple times. I've listened to it 3 or 4 times as well. And yeah, I had a lot of fun with it. I hope you guys did too.
I even put up with listening to myself talk for long enough so that I could hear that man talk again. I
Right?
zoomed through some of them parts, you know.
Well, that's why I like those types because I don't have to talk a whole lot, and then I can just sit back and like really just enjoy just like being there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yep, I
Which is
do
one of my
respect
favorite
that.
things. So, at the start of the show, we had just started discussing this news story, and we were kind of giggling about it because you hadn't seen it yet.
Hmm.
So, Illinois cannabis consumer files class action against companies for allegedly exceeding THC limits deceptively. So there's a class action by the name of this guy named Chad Alsip. He filed 2 class action lawsuits this week against multiple defendants, including Wellness Groups Farms and its affiliates operating collectively known as Arise, as well as several entities under Acreage Holdings, Ingrown Farms, and NCC. Okay. You know who these people are, correct?
Oh my god, yeah.
Okay.
Hmm. I
So,
also know what products are in question too, and I can't wait to give my perspective
oh,
on it. But
dude.
I'd also like to get through this thing to get to the nitty gritty of what he's actually saying, and a little bit down through this, it says the main point,
Hmm.
right? Which is that we have a 500 milligram limit as far as edibles go.
Right.
Um, and he's trying to claim that because these people make their products
Uh
under
huh.
the classification, what is it, for cannabis infused products,
Hmm.
okay, and they're not
CIPs.
make right,
Right.
instead
That's
of
an industry term, right? CIPs.
well, so bingo. The complaint alleges the companies unlawfully manufactured, marketed, and sold cannabis infused products with THC levels exceeding the legal limits set by Illinois law. Um, Mislabeling vape oils as cannabis concentrates, which are not subject to the same stringent THC limits as CIPs. Okay, so here's the concept. All right, CIPs are cannabis infused products. We're only allowed to have 500 milligrams of edibles, right? Um, what he's claiming is that the things that people use, they're called for shows, full spectrum hash oils. That is part of it too. That's more of a, and anything at this point that is. cleanly
Hmm.
ethanol extracted,
Hmm.
all right, which is a lot of the carts in the industry. Um, Theoretically, you could eat them.
Right. Multiple use.
Right.
You know what
Um,
this is? We need more types of designations in the old dispenser areas. That's what we need.
Bingo.
Because yeah,
I genuinely believe that this is somebody who is probably butthurt a little bit by
maybe.
and again, I don't know the situation. I don't really care. I'm not trying to harp on nobody. Um, it's weird to me that somebody would go through the extent to do this, right? What was the harm that was caused to you unless this person is a
Bad actor?
no bingo, but that could be, right? You're just acting on
Do you
behalf
think
of
they're doing it
another
for
fucking
mayhem for some reason? Is there some sort of broader thing they're trying to expose here?
the only way that it even makes sense is if it's from another
Group?
big player.
But as we kind of now know is that like there's only a few players. Like they're
Well,
all
that's what I'm saying. Like it would
owned
be
by
one of your
everybody else.
there's groups of friends.
Hmm.
All right, and you stay friends across borders, and you let some other people come in. And you're like, who the fuck
Yeah.
is this? Let's have lunch together and make sure that you're cool enough to be a part of our group or
Right.
whatever. All that shit goes on. But I would imagine that somebody within the groups got really mad that they're not allowed to do something. They're only allowed to do so much. It's also a bad. It's the state's bad for how much they allow our possession to be, right? It's crazy to me that we're only allowed
Mm,
500 milligrams of
well, we're
edible
barely
THC.
allowed anything, and we're taxed for the privilege of being allowed to barely have any of it in any way.
I actually, where do I got? I know I got one sitting here. I know I have one. This is it right here. This is a 1 gram cartridge. I just opened this recently. This is from
Yep.
Rove. Okay,
Yep.
not a bad whatever. Because of the method of extraction, theoretically, the man is saying that
Hmm.
this also breaks the interpretation of uh, CIP, cannabis infused products. But
Right.
what it is that he wants all edible forms of cannabis. And probably what he's talking about here are full spectrum hash oils, right? And even if he's mad at cartridges or whatever, you are trying super hard to write the rules about what these things mean. And as an average Joe, as a you and I, we don't give a fuck enough. There's nobody that cares enough. This has to be a it's an actor on behalf of somebody else, or it is somebody else putting their fucking legal name out there but not going under the name of the company.
Yeah.
um It has to be, bro. There it wouldn't make sense for me or you, even with as many pissed off customers. You go on Reddit, right? And you
Yeah.
read fucking ill
Yeah.
trees and every single fucking frump that's on there. There's not one person that has ever frumped that bad where they would go out and try to make a lawsuit against companies because they also missed some of the other players.
Right.
There's plenty of
So
other people who do this.
apparently they've also done this to multiple other players recently in the industry. These are just the latest two, and these are the two that made the news.
Oh, okay.
So
It
apparently they're doing it to just about everybody.
yeah, that sucks.
I think I saw
Um,
that on Instagram. But yeah, basically, so what they're saying is that the y- the vape oils, the vape carts, when you buy them, have over 100 milligram THC limit, right?
he's seeking compensation. This is
Yeah.
somebody so it's okay, so when I said it could be one of the big players, this could also just be some, like, rule buster, right? Like there's some people out there in the world who will just constantly fucking make lawsuits and whatever to
Yeah,
try and gain some money. And if you see something that is going against the rule, then you can jump in and kind of I mean, yeah, I don't know, man.
it's crazy. I mean, he's not wrong. Like, by definition, he's not wrong.
Mm,
I mean, he at least has an argument for why he's not wrong. Like, he has a pretty good argument. Like,
I
factually,
mean,
yeah. Like,
fucking let a nug sit in the fucking
sure.
put a nug in a microwave for fucking a few seconds
Well,
and then put it back in the package and then fucking eat the thing and you're in the
Ill-
same fucking boat.
Illinois is the one with the so strict regulations that it is this way. So,
Well, it's the and this is what you and I talk about all the
yeah,
time. It's the
absolutely.
misinterpretation of the words. It's a bad representation of something that's
Yeah,
physically tangible and scientifically measurable. It's
right,
mathematically provable.
right.
Some of the things that they keep arguing about, and that's
It's
why until
ridiculous.
yeah,
Yeah, go back and listen to our friend Alex. He has it all provable. You know what I mean?
bingo,
Like, it's
precisely.
yeah. Well, good times. Speaking of words, because I think this episode's going to be all about words, because or at least interpretations of words, right? Because there's lots of stuff going on. It is the new year for the state house. So um, one of the things that I saw is that there's a House bill 0042 sponsored by Senator Rachel Ventura would remove the requirement that cannabis within any area of a motor vehicle must be in an odor-proof container. So before, and this is from Illinois News Joint, our friends over there, when we talked about December 15th, the Supreme Court ruled that raw cannabis alone is sufficient probable cause. She's actually introducing a bill that would change that and actually make that illegal. So it says
What
that
is it?
if a
I'm gonna vote. I'm gonna vote just to vote for that person.
yeah, Rachel Ventura, she is does it say where she's at? Let me see. Joliet district office out of Joliet.
What a winner!
Yeah.
What a
Hey,
good one.
our disc golf friends down in Joliet, vote for Rachel Ventura. She's good on this issue. So it
Good
says
show.
if a motor vehicle is driven or occupied by an individual 21 years of age or over, a law enforcement officer may not stop or detain the motor vehicle or its driver, nor inspect or search the motor vehicle, the contents, the operator or passenger of the motor vehicle solely based on the odor of burnt or raw cannabis. So um, that would be fantastic. Burnt cannabis odor. I think that's the difference.
I mean, may not stop or detain the motor vehicle sounds great to me.
Yeah,
Fucking kidnapping you on the side of the road for a few minutes to argue you about your little bag of weed. And that's what, like, one of my biggest arguments to this shit all the time. And even to go back to one of the points from before, we have a 500 milligram edible limit
right.
because of what? When we literally that is a half of a gram
Yeah,
of raw THC, right? So, like, in a distillate form, you're 90% plus pure, depending on whatever your cleaning processes are. So, like, right over a half gram of distillate, fucking the 2,000 gram fucking Dragon Balls
uh
that
huh,
everybody looks at all the time and is like, whoa, those are the sweetest. Those are 2,000 grams, right?
yeah,
But, like, and then you're like, "Whoa, 2,000 grams, that's a fucking ton." It's really not. 2,000 divided by fucking 28 is, 71 ounces. You divide that by fucking 16, you're 4 under 4.5 pounds of fucking something, right?
right.
When our state is selling hundreds of thousands of pounds of something, and we're talking about, you know what I mean? Just such
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
minuscule amounts of this thing are, I don't know. It
Are you
fucking
saying
pisses
they
me
could
off
sell
that
so
this
much more?
it pisses me off that they're allowed to have thousands of fucking Dragon Balls, and you are a criminal if you have over this much. And it's
Yeah.
like, what are you doing? It don't even make sense anymore. I
Well,
don't
I mean, shout out to Rachel Ventura, who's actually trying to write laws to like not criminalize cannabis, to decriminalize cannabis. Like this is we need more of this for real in the House and the Senate, and not this other, you know, what can for the third time can we not pass this omnibus? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
So in the Illinois House introduces new cannabis bills. Um, there is one by Rita Mayfield. House Bill 1170 provides that the Illinois Community College Board shall develop and maintain a program to provide free tuition to one community college in 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 each R3 area using money appropriated from the Cannabis Regulation Fund, and authorizes the board to adopt any rules necessary. So we want more money for more stuff. That's the first new one that's been. Let's see. Here's the other one. House Bill 1815, sponsored by Rep. Curtis J. Tarver the second, that the juvenile law enforcement records of a person before his or her 21st birthday has committed an act by which, if committed by an adult, would constitute a criminal violation under the Cannabis Control Act or a criminal violation of the Drug Paraphernalia Control Act with respect to cannabis are subject to automatic expungement.
Oh, I like that.
I love it.
Yeah, I like that.
It also says basically the whoever the law enforcement agency is uh, will automatically expunge on or before January 1st and July 1st of each year the juvenile law enforcement records. And then provided by rule for the process. Yeah, more. Yeah, basically, it is automatically expunging anybody who was a juvenile and would have been got caught with weed.
Good,
Yeah, that's fantastic. That shouldn't
good.
follow you into your adult life.
As it lit, as we should. But that's
Right.
my whole point to all of what I keep saying over and over in this conversation we're having. It's sick
Mhm.
that we allow players to have tens of thousands the amount
Mhm.
that we are criminalizing people for.
Right.
But because they are actors on the state's behalf,
Right.
supposedly, and because we run a zero diversion fucking industry, we can say, well, we're properly able to handle and manage
Mhm.
this shit. What about every IAR that exists? What about every fucking remediation that's happened? What about like all these things that are like close to,
Mhm.
um, being legal, but like, and so
Right.
I don't know.
I
I,
mean, it shouldn't be the state's job to tell us what we can and can't do.
probably not with a fucking plant material that
No.
genuinely causes not much more than the munchies, right?
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous. And they shouldn't have regulation over it. Period.
Bro, I to a degree, like, I and you and I talk about it a lot, like, I think I'm, like, in between. I don't really know how much government there should be or not, whatever.
Right.
It's always this fucking who I'm telling you right now that you and I both, we all are on the same page.
Mhm.
There is an overregulation of this thing, and it's unbelievably sickening that we are taxed 40%. The state is allowed to make money off of this at a rate almost the same as the fucking people doing all the work.
Hmm.
Okay. And um, we continually criminalize folk for too much of this.
This would be like telling people they can't have when they were doing sugar tax, like in Chicago, and everybody freaked out. This would be like you can't have more than like 2 cases of Coke in your house,
Yeah.
or we're gonna like arrest you. You'd be like, what? You
Yeah.
can't have more than 2 cases of soda in your house, dude,
Yeah.
and we're gonna arrest you.
Yeah.
You walking down the street with 3 cases of soda, got one in your pocket.
Immediate
Nope,
grounds. Yep.
immediate to jail.
Yep. Yep.
It's honestly kind of crazy.
It's literally, yeah.
Here's
Yep.
here's the third good one. Or here's another good one. House Bill 1055, sponsored by Rep. Dave Vella, would modify the definition of minor cannabis offense for expungement purposes to mean a violation of specified provisions of the Cannabis Control Act concerning not more than 100 grams rather than 30 grams of any substance containing cannabis if the violation did not include a penalty enhancement under specified provisions of the Cannabis Control Act and is not associated with an arrest, conviction, or disposition of a violent crime. So as long as you didn't rob the dispensary, you're probably good.
Well, and dude, what he just said was get rid of the stupid different categories. Who
Right.
gives a fuck? You're only allowed 30 grams of flour, 5 grams of concentrate, and 500 milligrams of edibles. That's period it. Why
Right.
not just make it 100 fucking grams of anything? All
Hmm.
right. 10 gummies is 10 100 milligram packages of gummies is 1 gram worth, though. Right? And everybody's like, "Holy shit! So you mean to tell me that somebody could buy 1,000 packages of gummies if that's what they wanted to do?" And I say, "Yes." I
You
say,
want to
"Yep.
pay
If that's
that?
what you wanted to do, I mean, you're gonna get diabetes before you fucking get anywhere else." But
Speaking of, I hear those belts are really good. Have you had those yet?
Mm-mm,
I hear they're like the little gummy belts. I don't know who makes them. Maybe Enliven or somebody. They're
mm-mm.
like little like fruit roll ups or whatever.
Enliven Flooding's got some. They got some banging edibles. Their
Yeah.
cereal bars are real nice. Their
Nice.
their popcorn. I
Oh,
mean,
no, it's Kana. Raisin or infused rosin belts by Kana.
oh, I
Yeah.
might be actually having some of those show up to the dispensary soon. I'll let you know. Yeah.
Call me. Call
I
me.
will.
I'll be there.
We do have an order coming from them, and he told me he's got some new shit coming, so I wonder if that's it.
Uh, I hope it is. I want that sativa cherry limeade. Yeah, for
I mean,
real. Yeah, Kana's been killing it lately, haven't they?
bro, I love their carts. I would
They're
rather if you ready for this, people are gonna freak out if they hear me say this, but I've been saying it more publicly lately. I'd almost rather have a Kana cart than any other cart in the entire industry. Oh, is that what you got? Which one you got right now?
I don't know, I think some guy gave it to me as an extra at a dispensary one time.
Nice. Is it mango?
It might be mango.
Oh, it's the fucking best one.
It's getting
It
low. I gotta come get a new one.
it is so that well, the mango and the orange creamsicle just get out of here.
Mm.
I could literally smoke those 2 products for the rest of my fucking life and probably not worry about much else.
Yeah, orange creamsicle is pretty dope. Except it's an indica, right?
Indica.
Indica.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's indicative of good something. I don't know.
enjoying yourself, yeah.
Enjoying yourself, right?
Mhm.
Smoking weed in the dark, getting sleepy.
That's it, that's it. That's it.
um So also the Illinois, so those were some of the new bills that were filed in the new session this year. We've also reintroduced several cannabis related bills and provisions which have previously failed to pass in past legislative sessions. The reintroduced bills include provisions for medical tax at all dispensaries, cannabis regulation fund money allocations, and transport consolidation.
Yeah.
So, one of the most watched bills for med patients is House Bill 1228, introduced by Rep. Sonia Harper, which provides that the prescription and non prescription medicine and drugs includes cannabis or cannabis infused related products purchased from a dispensing organization, and provides that the tax imposed under the provisions is not imposed on cannabis infused product that is subject to tax under the Compassionate Use of Medical Cannabis Program Act, or cannabis infused products sold to a cardholder under the Compassionate Use of Medical Cannabis Program Act. And basically, this means that you can get your medical discount tax rate at any cannabis
Yeah, as you
store.
should be able to.
Yeah, absolutely.
As you should be able to. And then you wanna know what you could help all them fucking social equity fucking places out really quick by allowing but the thing is, you just cut off at the knees a lot of the fucking people who have
They don't want an open market. That's the thing.
they
They
don't.
don't they don't want an open market. They don't want people to participate. They don't want social
No, no, no.
equity to participate.
They
They
want the
want
consumers to participate, that's it.
Well, you said something in the last podcast, I mean, you say it all the time, but like the way you said it and the way that you said it really kind of like drove something to me. And we talked about this Sunday, but you said, consumers want to participate, but they want you to present something with integrity, and honestly, and that is why they don't see that much of a participation in the marketing more, because nobody's honestly offering anything good. And it's that was before it was rec. It was like a med club, and so it was like a little club, and like companies actually cared about your business,
Yep.
and now they don't give a shit, and they
Well,
don't
and
want
that's
you
it
in it.
too, it's like more of these people are fighting for over the border sales than they are in the border sales, which
Yeah.
is wild to me. Like, yeah.
Well,
So what
because
happens when those markets pop, right? Like
well,
Illinois gets worse as yeah, just crazy.
Illinois is just like a jumping ground. It's like, oh look, I can follow the rules. I can be legal. This is my like little tax haven. Let me pop out everywhere else and actually make money. That's the actual game.
We are where some of the biggest cannabis companies come from.
Hmm.
And the reason for it is because the people who are capable of winning licenses here have a zero issue getting licenses in these far
That's
less
right.
regulated places. And they're able to come through with a corporate structure now that has been built on the backs of 40% taxation and shit.
Hmm.
So they're able to come swing their 40% dinghies around at everybody. And it's really good. Like, governments there are like, "Wait, you get 40% where you're at?
Yep.
Oh, we are only getting 20 right now. Like, we should bring these people in. They're the gurus of cannabis. They're the
Ohio's already talking about changing their tax rate. They're like, wait, we're straight 10%. Like, look at all this money we're losing out on.
yeah, it'll go to 20.
Oh, I'm sure.
They'll the I'm and my guesstimation is everywhere does, right? But I'm literally telling you this is the worst form of taxation without representation
Oh, sure.
that we've had since the Boston Tea Party and all that, bro.
Is
This is
this the end?
down.
Is
This
this
is
the end of
crazy.
cannabis?
What?
This is the end of cannabis. Is this like the burning of Alexandria?
And I lie because there's plenty of other shit that gets taxed probably even harder than cannabis does. I
Sure.
know there is, but it's also like as a under the guise of some medical
Hmm.
program,
You're
the
not
way
wrong.
that this has evolved into a tax grab is nuts, right? And I don't know. We've talked about it before.
Hashtag thanks Obama,
Well, for
because there's no money to be made in healthcare no more after Obamacare.
oh shit, and again, like there's a lot. There's deep into that, right? The fucking insurance companies are wild anyway. But
Right.
anyway, I don't know, dude. It's
I bet there's a link. I bet there is a link.
yeah,
I mean, I know that's a wild off the wall thing to say, but I mean, I guess I probably wouldn't have said it if it wasn't maybe partially true
yeah.
or at least plausible.
I don't know, man. I'm uh I'm weirded out by. I mean, we are all weirded out by taxes, right? The
Mhm.
idea of spending more to this big group because they've allowed me to do it thing is weird, right? And what I don't know. 33% because you've gone to work seems fucking crazy to me too. Just give it to me because you went to work sounds wild. But
Mhm.
then on top of that is if you're getting 33% taken out up front and then you go to do something with it and you're getting taken 40% out extra,
That's right.
like the double fuckery and the
Yep.
squeeze that's going on again, taxation without representation. It's getting worse, dude. And
Yep.
it's under such technical terminology now. In the same way, we're like, you and I are debunking the words of cannabis, right?
Right.
We're going through the well, there's a difference between Steve and Indica or whatever, but what's the
Right.
difference between hemp and cannabis is a big fucking one that we try to
Sure.
conversate about. But think of how much actual terminology there is out there to confuse the masses on other scales and shit. And the one that kills me more than anything is like, you name one person that doesn't have a fucking accounting degree that knows about taxes. And there's okay, fine, we've got Alex, right? I don't know Alex has got a fucking degree in whatever. He's just so smart to everything he probably has an understanding of, right? And I understand to a
Well,
degree,
if
but
you were astute, you heard Alex actually hint about who he believes in as far as economics.
oh, 100%. And I'm right there with. I just think that there are not a lot of people who understand what the implications or the reasons for this taxation are to begin with. And the fact that they are being robbed at some,
Yep.
yeah, you're forcefully being robbed at the risk of,
Well, it's because
what
people don't understand what the state is.
collections.
Yes, they don't understand what the state is. They have a different idea of what the state is actually supposed to do. And they need to read Anatomy of the State and understand what the state's job is. You know what I mean? But that's it's easier to give up and believe what seemingly everybody else believes in, even though it's actually insane, because then it takes the choice part out of it. And if you don't have a choice, then you know it's just easier mentally to deal with, and that's kind of where we're at with a lot of people, I think. You know what I mean? We got people out here trading morals for money.
And yeah, but and not a lot of money, and a
No,
lot of
of
money
course
that you're
not.
getting robbed from you from
Right.
every direction also. It is a wild thing.
That's why it's important to, be self-sufficient as much as you can
I
and, live in the now.
yeah, to a degree. I think there's something and like what Alex said the other day, you know how you vote? With your wallet,
That's
right?
right.
Like there's no fucking way that
Free
you
market.
should be buying even $1.5 billion worth of cannabis in the Illinois market, right? And there's
Right.
plenty of good things that are worth you buying, but I can reassure you it's not $1.5 billion worth of shit that you should be buying. And I'm not saying that, like do whatever the fuck you got to do to sustain yourself, but we all know what Michigan is. We all know the
Yep.
amount of people who are willing to take the fucking drive. Um,
There's plenty of gray markets. There was just a few this weekend. There was
oh,
one
I
here. There was one in Aurora. I mean, like, there's places to go. Like, plugs are easier and easier to find, I think. So, like, vote with your wallet.
Flow with your wallet. And you know, I don't know that, and like it's I work in the middle of it, right? And I want to see the thing succeed so desperately.
Sure.
But even the people who are lobbying,
Yeah.
they're lobbying against competition. They're lobbying for their ability to have 20 dispensaries instead of fucking 10, or it's all this lobby action towards selfishness and
Mhm.
exclusion. Um we're like, why
I like
wouldn't
that.
you spend
Selfishness and exclusion instead of diversity and inclusion.
how crazy, right?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh, you heard it here first, folks. Speaking of selfishness, here's one introduced by Bob Rita. This is the licensure of consolidated transport centers. This is a state transport centers, so the transporters have to go get the product from the state transport centers. Yeah. What do you think about that, Dave? More state. So if the delivery's late, it's the state's fault.
Hold on. If this is for just for hubs, though, I'm
Yeah.
for it. Like, if this is for transport hubs, I've been for that for transporters since I've heard about this shit.
Yeah, but number 1, none of the transporters are actually working. Number 2, this is just more state bullshit to
Some
divert
of them are,
funds
dude.
of tax.
I've had some great insight to some fucking transports lately, and they are it's weird, dude, because people are trying to monopolize that shit and they're trying to force out anybody who has anything, right? Like big guys are fucking threatening little guys. Oh, dude, it's so wild.
You don't you
It's
don't think
so
that a
wild.
you don't think that a state hub would just encourage that anyway?
I don't
It's
know
as
that by this being called a state hub, I think it's probably a state governed hub. I haven't been able to, while I'm having this conversation, read enough of this to see what's going on. But um,
my understanding, I think what we had read before is that, because of the state hub, they wanted to give less to actual small business, transporters and give more to like they were taking over portions of that and only giving like 18% back or something, if I remember correctly. I'll have to go back and look, but some of the transporters were not happy about this.
Oh, okay. Like the thing. Well, I don't know what this bill says.
Yeah.
What should happen for transport is that I think this is me. If you wanted to introduce this so desperately, you allow each cultivation center to have a certain amount of fucking transports, right? And
Hmm.
then force them to use outside transports, right? If you want to make all these fucking rules for everything and you want to force people to do shit, force one of the licenses that you've given out to be somewhat successful.
Sure.
And the way that you could do that is by forcing the use of them, which
Hmm.
there's plenty of framework that can be worked there too. But you could also give them centralized hubs because our
Sure.
state is fucking 7+ hours long from north
Hmm.
to south. And if I started at the absolute southern tip, made it all the way to the most northern fucking from the most southern cultivation center to
Hmm.
our most northern fucking dispensary is like 6.5 fucking hours away.
Yep.
So if they started at 5 o'clock in the morning and they drove all the way there, took a fucking, let's call it a 1 hour delivery. Okay, that's I mean, depends, maybe a bigger
Sure.
one. But then they drive all the way the fuck back down. They're
Hmm.
not even home until 7, 8 o'clock at night, bro.
That's right.
And that's assuming that they don't have to stop a bunch of times to piss and stuff. So now they're home at 8, 9 o'clock for one delivery that is 7 hours away. Where if they were able to, at the beginning of the week plan their shit out, take 6 deliveries up to their centralized hub, leave
Sure.
everything there under cameras that are watched by
Sure.
the state, no diversion of product, no whatever, then I don't see where the issue would be. I understand that the facilities probably might be even more, they might cost more than what some of these transporters would even have money to do with anymore. Some
Mhm.
of them are so invested into what they've already got going on that to build this hub out would be fucking tough, right?
Right.
So, and then what's happening is that some are getting all the contracts and some aren't getting any contract, and it's just this fight back and forth.
Right.
But the ones who are getting the contracts are also ones who are fucking kind of sleeping in bed with some of the big players already,
That's right.
right? So now they would have all the backing from all of those other companies, because if these other companies can cut a fucking expense from themselves,
Mhm.
turn it into a simple bill that's very easy to manage, and they're taking care of one whole side of logistics for us, and we don't ever have to fucking worry about 100%, they would all do it, right? So like
Yeah.
it makes more sense for the big players to get in bed with a few of the small a few of the transports, just so that they can monopolize kind of that edge of it. Again, trim all these other fucking players out of the way. It's wild, bro. Like,
It is
we
wild.
know this has happened. We've heard that this is happening. We know that other people are buying out, right? And like, at what point do these poor transport companies who have invested their entire savings and everything
Yeah.
into doing this thing, um, when are they just stuck with a few fucking shitty vans and a bunch of bills? Like,
A year ago?
dude, and a lot of people too.
A
What I
year
heard
ago?
from this guy the other day, he said, "Do you understand if a cultivation center goes out of business, a because I'm getting small contracts with people, infusion licenses, whatever. I go deliver 30 fucking deliveries for them over a
Mhm.
1 month span or whatever it is. Next month, they don't operate anymore. They
We know
didn't
a
make it.
few recently that are no longer.
They burnt every fucking dime that they possibly could have
Yep.
had. They have no more investors.
Yep.
There's nobody else who gives a shit about your
Nope.
infusion license or your whatever. And
Nope.
you gave away most of your product to try and get people to buy more of that product.
Yep.
And then you're stuck with, like, now you've got fucking transport bills for fucking 30 deliveries that
Yep.
you can't pay. You've got you got to buy your crude still that you haven't paid that off, because and then you sold to the 30 people who would buy the shit from you, who are
Mhm.
new dispensary groups who aren't even paying them.
Right.
So now it's just the how far back is the bill and the buck passed to where how many of these guys are just going to get fucking eaten up. um it's sad. It's it would be far more workable if the regulations weren't as fucking tight against them. If they
Right.
had these centralized hubs and shit, that would be like a huge alleviation on gas. How the fuck are you going to keep somebody employed if they've got to work 18-hour days guaranteed, right? You got
Yeah, no
seven and a
shit.
half hours up, 7.5 hours down, an hour worth of fucking work. You're
Who
16 hours plus
who's got enough who's got enough work that they can actually keep people hired?
well, and that's well, but
You
that's
know,
another
who
point of
can
it
keep an
too, right?
employee for, like, when you have a delivery.
And bingo, when we're stuck forcing to use
Mhm.
these employees, I'm only allowed to burn them up in 40 hours. So I got
Right.
to get more employees to fill all the different so now my fucking overhead for employment costs is, oh man, I feel bad for.
Yeah.
I literally, when I'm talking to some of these people, I feel bad for
Yeah, they got duped by the state.
them. But also too, I mean, I mean, I don't know, and this is what the guy told me. He said when it was first presented, there was the idea that dispense or cultivation centers would not be able to deliver a single piece of their own cannabis. That was what it was all presented as,
Sure.
right? And now there's not one of the big fucking MSOs who doesn't have a fuck ton of their own
Right.
trucks already doing their own shit.
Well,
right?
I
And they've
mean,
already got insurance on them. They've already got transport drivers. What are they supposed to get rid of all their
but
employees and shit?
that was the whole thing, is that when they decided they were gonna do transport licenses, like, the market was already going. There was already transport happening. Like, why?
They thought that it would be more beneficial from okay, so they thought it'd be more beneficial for craft grow too. They thought that the craft grows would come on. They would all need somebody to transport their shit. All these other infusion licenses would come on. Somebody would have to transport their shit. And like the infusion licenses are trash,
Yep.
right? They're even. I'd imagine them to be even worse. Now, can you do more with one if you're good at it? I think so. But like you have to be somebody who's already a player somewhere else. You got to have brand recognition starting from the ground up in an industry that's fucking MSO dominated. It's monopolized into these big players. A good fucking move.
One of the best companies in Illinois right now, Kana, is, like, not even an Illinois company. They came in from what, Vegas, California, right?
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like it, but and
Like,
they
they
have
have the brand recognition. If you go outside of Illinois and
oh,
talk about Kana
Rove is
Bliss, like, people know what's up. Rove, people know who the fuck Rove is outside of Illinois.
yeah. Well, and that's it, dude. There's plenty of players, and but also too, go to any other state now and ask them who the fuck Cresco is. And that all started right here. Go ask them
Yeah,
who the fuck GTI is. And that all started right here.
it's
Like
true.
all of these players here have gone out and made massive impacts in other markets. And as they should, that I think that some of them are very good at the cultivation,
Yeah,
um, extraction, and distribution of cannabis, right? They're
sure.
good at all aspects of production of cannabis. There is just not a large access to be a player in some of these places. And in the markets where players are allowed, the big monsters who are establishing themselves in other places are sucking up every license before any small player even ever has a chance to.
Right.
So I would venture to tell you Kentucky just got a bunch of licenses. I'd
Mhm.
venture to tell you 80 to 90% of them were probably stolen by, but I wouldn't say stolen, rightfully earned, right? Because you can present your SOPs and your woo
Right.
woo, um, rightfully earned it by
Big companies.
already established folk.
Absolutely. And
Already
and
very,
and
very
and
established.
there's something to that. Like, is that preferable to somebody who's never done it? Probably. Probably. If you think of the state as like a company, and they have to keep the company of the state running, like, what's good for the state, what's good for the people of the state, as far as business, yeah, that's probably better.
Yeah.
But, you know,
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I I don't know, man. I'm just I'm optimistically hopeful for a revolution of the mind. And I think that with cannabis, it's my way of expressing how I think all of us can get there, right? And I think that also inside this plan we have some very keen clues as to how we do it without being so fucking destructive or so exclusive, right?
mhm,
It's not in the industry of the plant, like the plant itself, right? At the base and the core of it, there is
yeah.
some humanity and some life, and it's not so fucking cold and whatever, right? Like the plant's way better. The industry is very meh.
Yeah, well, the industry is meh, and the state is. Yeah, I think what we should be talking about is why the state is in the position that it's in, that it is making markets like this. I think that's the bigger picture. You know what I mean? Like, why are we where we're at right now, where this is an issue?
There's a lot. That's an unpack
Sure,
lot, right? There,
sure.
but it's everything from um old horrible propaganda that is
Hmm.
still lingering around. It's rooted in obviously government and politics, right? Regardless of how we look at that, there's plenty of that.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, there's a lot of things that could be immediately changed on the surface so it would make it way better. But I don't know, man. I'm optimistic. I'm very, I think that with all the conversations that you and I have, and
Yeah.
I get, sometimes it sounds like maybe we're being frumpy, or maybe I'm being frumpy. I think when I'm listening to myself re talk, and that's not what I'm trying to do. As much as I'm so disappointed that we're not able to have a quick, everybody get on one fucking collective phone call. Let's all do this as one collective. How easy could it be? If you got nothing to fucking say, then just go sit back down, whatever.
Yep.
It's okay, right? If you don't care, then you don't have to care. But for those who do care, and it's a market, it's a medicine, it's a fucking personal, like, I don't know. It's all there's so many aspects to what this plant is, to have as much regulation and misinformation that surrounds it is still weird. It's like weird, but like unfortunate. And
Yeah.
I hope that, like, that's my whole thing. I'm optimistic that through these conversations, and why I keep having them, is at some point it all catches on. Everybody goes, "Whoa,
Yep.
why did you say that?" Right? Like, this is all more about exclusion and you know, inequality, and it's
Mm.
not about diversion and equity and like, there's not, it's not that. It's,
Right.
you know, um yeah, and for everybody, like, it sucks because I'm part of it as a workplace, and the
Mm.
limitations that I'm stuck in as an employee of is fucking garbage.
Yeah.
So I hope it changes.
I hope it changes too.
Yeah.
Hey, Dave,
What up?
you wanna do Know Your Terps with Dave?
No, 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 your terpenes.
That's gonna be the new thing. Did you see this down at the bottom of the page?
I
Know
did,
Your Terps.
man. And so,
So, I mean, there's a lot of terpenes, but, like, how many can we actually talk about that
well, the
so
so
we're starting to get into the
line,
weeds is what I'm saying.
the main line on the top right there is
Mhm.
what makes me very happy about this one, right?
I knew I that's why I picked this one.
Bingo.
Because, like, if we're gonna talk about rare terpenes, like, let's let's talk about this one because
Geraniol.
yep,
It's a rare terpene in cannabis and is primarily found in strains with high levels of CBD. The terpene
right.
exists in geraniums, roses, peaches, oranges, lemons, and tobacco.
Mhm.
Has a
That's right.
sweet and floral scent with notes of rose, grass, peaches, and lavender. Okay, so when this is one of those instances where you're going to run into tons of overlap. But
Mhm.
we also, this is a perfect example of why more science needs to be done
Mhm.
around all the aspects of the plant before we, go too far with it. But we also, too, knowing that there is something like this inside the plant makes it so much more, why am I not having a whole plant experience all the
Right.
time? Right? Because if this also adds to, anti-inflammatory, the list goes on. What does it say here? Anti-anxiety, pain, uplifting. It's effects can improve mood and focus.
Mhm.
The other one that I really like, and a lot of more of the moody focus things that come up, talk about. This one says Parkinson's, which I absolutely love, but um, diseases that, or conditions that cause central nervous system
Yeah.
issues, right? um so
Restless leg
more just
syndrome,
brain issues also.
fibromyalgia,
Well,
cognitive, like
no, it's
yeah.
more like I really like what's capable with um
You said nerve
Parkinson's is
issues.
really cool.
Yeah.
That's another really cool one that I've seen cannabis be super effective with. But Alzheimer's and dementia,
Mm.
things that are more of the brain and the nervous system, right?
Sure.
Lou Gehrig's disease, also things of that
Mhm.
nature, where cannabis could be. It's not necessarily a reversal or anything of that nature, but the tickets for alleviation and helping de- did slow the impact of these things,
Sure.
right? Like the
That makes sense.
deterioration is a it probably goes more of one of these steep hill things, like,
Right.
because once we get to a point where it really fucking sucks, like, holy cow, I can't take care of myself anymore for some of the
Right.
conditions, right? But like, if we can kind of just keep this at a steeper, like, or
Sure.
a less steep kind of I'm climbing a hill thing, and it
Yeah.
doesn't have to be some like drastic takeoff
Drastic.
to the moon. Run it, right? And the
Yeah.
longer this little uptick can be, and it's not so holy cow spiky, that would be cool too, you know. Um, but yeah, I'm impressed by the research that has been going on, and just same way, like Alex was saying, like PubMed's got a lot of great
Yep.
information. I scour the internet for uh things from like Israel, right?
Mhm.
Because I greatly respect that Rafi Machulam gave his level of information to students, and those students have gone on to continue his
Yeah.
learnings, but also direct his learnings into less broad categories and into more, pointed ideas. And yeah, there's a lot of really cool potential out there, right? But until, and like Alex talked about the other day, until a lot more research is done, and
Mhm.
until uh, geraniol is available with more regularity, right?
Sure.
See, the thing is, we got really good at producing cannabis for THC. We
Right.
probably understand how to delegate some of the terpenoids off to a degree,
Mhm.
but to force a terp to be the thing that is the more abundant, I don't know that we're that far in plant science yet.
Right.
In at least cannabis plant science, where like we're able to go, hey, geraniol from a cannabis plant direct, right? Now
Right.
we can find it in geraniums, we can find it in
Yep.
roses, we can find it in peaches, but it's also in oranges and lemons.
Yep.
Oranges and lemons seem to be like some, they got limonene, they got myrcene,
Mhm.
they got the whole gamut of cool shit that we should be looking into. But um, I'm for the entourage effect at a certain
Yeah.
point. I'm
Yeah.
for the
Full
you should try
spectrum.
to consume a little bit of all of it,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. And
Um,
and I know there's some people that that watch the show, like our friend Daily Homegrown, who's been taking the CBG
yeah, hell yeah.
edibles every day, you know.
Hell yeah.
Um I know there's people that we've talked to that ingest more CBD now. They
Good,
on a daily basis to
good.
improve their health. Like, I think having the conversation does do something, Dave.
Well,
Like, I think even though we're just out here talking to the ether, like, we do get feedback that, like, this does matter. You know what I mean?
Well, that's the whole point. There's more to this, and even then, when I'm immediately in the moment speaking about CBD, should you take that home and go, "This is the only thing that's gonna fucking help me," and I gotta no,
No.
but like understanding that it is a source of, especially like listed alleviations, right? Like exactly
Right.
what the thing can benefit you as. You're any bit classified as that. Why wouldn't you start with using some of that thing directly? Right, where
Right.
everything that we use cannabis for is this intoxication, or a lot of people use it. I would say 80+%
Yeah.
of the users of cannabis use it because it is a mild intoxicant that
Mhm.
is good at the fuck it all aspects. And like,
Sure.
but for the people, and this is what I was telling Alex too, like for those few folks who really are getting glory story, right? They're getting results that are
Yeah,
otherwise miraculous. Okay.
absolutely.
And it's coming because of and now listen, many other aspects of health have gone into this, right? Eating properly, maybe even seeing the doctors, making
Sure.
sure that you're taking care of yourself in
Yeah.
different ways, whatever, exercising, whatever. I've also been a part of instances where people said nothing has changed in my entire diet, nothing except for the introduction of cannabis.
Yep.
And it's for those people that I'm going, well, okay, it doesn't have to be that for everybody. I don't give a flying fuck. It has to be that mild intoxicant that everybody
Mhm.
feels comfortable with, because
Yep.
if it keeps doing that, everybody will keep doing it. But if it has the potential to be an alleviant of Parkinson's disease, if it has a potential of being an alleviant of Alzheimer's and dementia, or epilepsy, or
Traumatic
cancer,
brain
or
injuries.
literally, and some of these conditions that we throw out are debilitating to the
Yep.
point some of these people that I've treated and helped treat through the consumption of cannabis, um, there is deteriorated and depleted of what we consider health.
Mhm.
Um, yeah. So and then to find some relief from, or to find some comforts from, or whatever. It seems wild that we would ever put stipulations against who can have access to it, and that's why, like, my whole thing is like, let everybody, because it doesn't matter. I've watched children, literally infants, incapable of. I've watched also through their whole progression of life, but I just saw one of my favorite people today. When I first met this young lady, I think she was 7, 8, 9, something of that nature. She's
Mhm.
nonverbal. She's 16 now, something. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, to still be using the same types of cannabis, to still be getting the same seizure seizure reduction,
Mhm.
because of, to know that there are times and moments of flare up and aggressive um conditions, right, that aren't always going to be, to know that there's this alleviant out there. It's crazy. And
Mhm.
like, sometimes when it's like, oh my god, the flare ups, we go, okay, well, what should we do? And I'm like, hey, maybe introduce a little bit more, maybe stay a little bit more consistent, maybe whatever. And to see that, m- it doesn't seem as sharp, it doesn't seem as acute as it has in the past, because there seems to be some level of comfort and alleviation. um I don't give a flying fuck, man. I would do this for the rest of my life just
Yeah.
for that one little girl, man. To be quite honest with you, she's worth it, right? And
I mean, comfort is worth it. Comfort, I mean, I get it. I'm a caregiver for somebody with a actual medical condition. I grow cannabis for them because it actually helps them. And providing comfort to people is one of the most important things.
I
Comfort is a human right.
I think so, man.
Yeah.
At least access to comfort, right? If
Access
we
to
know
comfort.
that
Yeah,
comfort
sure.
is out there, if we know that the alleviant is out there, and then to limit access, to criminalize you for possession,
Tax access.
dude, it's so crazy. You know,
Yeah. Well,
how to,
let's not start that up again. We just did a whole show.
yeah, vote. All right, vote with your wallet.
Yeah, vote with your wallet. Other than that, we love you all. Smoke weed every day. Peace.
Thank
Yo, ding dong, we're done here. Time to go.